What is up, everybody? This is Matthew Ogle with VYPE Media, and we have a very special guest, Coach David Walters, here with the Coach's Corner, getting ready for Championship Saturday taking place at Birkelbach Field in Georgetown. I will be there. I'm excited. So, Stratford, monumental year, unprecedented level of success. Y'all are always in the conversation. Y'all have reached regional finals before. Y'all have gone 4 rounds, 5 rounds deep, but it's always been those little last incremental moments that y'all haven't been able to get through the barrier until now, whenever y'all defeated Vandegrift on Friday. So tell me, Coach, what has spurred along this level of success that is ultimately translated onto the pitch?
Yeah, this has been kind of a historical group of seniors. Leadership is so important in everything you do, really. But in sports, particularly, obviously in skill, the kids are very skilled, and so you can't do that without both of those things. But with this group, we have a group of particularly 5 seniors that have been playing since their freshman year on the varsity, and um, back when I got here, we tried really hard to kind of change the culture a little bit because it needed more cohesiveness. And so we really felt we pushed really hard for that. And ball control. So that's really what we push. We push cohesiveness, ball control. We want to keep the ball. And the girls bought into it. And so the kids that are now seniors, they've been playing together, and a lot of them play on their Albion team as well. I mean, all the girls are Albion products, and so shout out to them. But it's their cohesiveness together. They play together so much, and I think this year was kind of really put us through over the hump. Is we have managed to stay with the same formation, with the same kids. We've avoided a lot of injuries, and we haven't had a lot of lineup changes like we've had in the past. And so I think just that consistency all year has really kind of made us. I mean, they make runs and they pass balls blindly sometimes. They know that person's going to be there. And so they're playing with such a gel and cohesiveness that's really kind of put us over the edge this year.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the fact that they're healthy. I think that is something that often gets overlooked down later in the line because y'all are playing playoff games 2 days apart, 3 days apart, and
It's tough.
I noticed, especially if you go into those extra times, like whenever I was covering Kingwood Park versus Lake Creek boys, they went into extra time, they went into PKs, and they were cramping up near the
Yeah.
end of it. So, I can imagine you're going to get banged up along the way. So that's really impressive. And it's fortunate that you're able to continuously keep that health there. So you said this is your 6th year with Stratford Girls coaching, and you've had several experiences. You went to Pearland, West Side, Ailey Taylor, kind of alternated between guys and girls. What would you say has been the best thing you've gathered in your experience that you're able to transfer along to each group of girls that comes into your program?
It's been a accumulation of a lot of different things. I think I probably really, from Pearland to West Side, the girls were willing to kind of play a little bit more of an aggressive, a little bit more rough and tumble type of style that I brought in from the girls. Not over the top, but they needed something extra, a little bit more physicality, and so they did that. And then when I went to A League, we played such a fast system of play. The boys were really fast, very skilled, and then so taking that here is kind of a little bit of everything. I've stolen a little bit from my past and from different coaches of where I've been throughout my career, and so now this group is really kind of culmination of everywhere I've been. They're tough, they're fast, they're skilled. They play ball control like the boys did in A Leaf. They play physical like some of the boys that I had in Pearland. And they're relentless. We've played tough schedules this year that we don't take it easy in the preseason. We go and we try to play some of the best teams that we can play, and it shows. Typically in this year and some in the playoff games this year, shoulder tackles that would have in the past knocked these girls on their butts, they're not. They're delivering shoulder tackles, and so I was really kind of was blown away, especially when we played Katie, Jordan, and then Tompkins. The Katie schools go through such a gauntlet, and they're used to that physicality. And it's not dirty or anything like that. It's just they grind, they play hard, and and sometimes that can be a lot for a team. And our kids really stood up to it and didn't wither and didn't bounce off. They were delivering shoulder tackles, and so it's kind of been to go back to your question. It's been an accumulation of all of those things, and so it's been a really fun group that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're not kidding about Katie ISD, by the way. Like,
Oh yeah,
across the board, both boys and girls. I mean, Seven Lakes, for instance, just made it. Well, just eliminated in the state semis. But I mean, yeah, like you said, there's a gauntlet. Y'all took down Jordan, Tompkins, Kingwood. That was a really good matchup. At Vandegrift, they're always in the conversation. So I think that was probably the most definitive win. I mean, sometimes it's going to be close like that, and I can imagine
it is.
it gets nerve-wracking. And then so it's really good that you have an experienced group of girls, like you said, that have been used to each other and have been playing with each other. So, I mean, based off of what I can see, like captains, you got like Allison Goodwin, your forward, you got Ryan Weber and Campbell, Mary Charlotte Paul in the midfield, and then your goalkeeper and Olivia Harbison. So you've got all those captains, I think, that should be your vocal presence, if I'm not mistaken. But what would you say is going to be key to finally get that championship back to Spring Branch ISD?
Yeah, I think I see a spark in their eyes this year that they know, having been to the regional final and then losing out and then coming through this one and playing a good team like Vandegrift and coming out, winning. And I've seen the girls and they're like, hey, we can do this. And they're not, we played Marcus earlier in the year and they beat us 3-1, and they're a very good team, and they're a blue blood team. They've got a pedigree. They've been there multiple times, but having them played them, like we went to the NEPS tournament in Dallas and back in January. And that was such a game changer for us to really hope. We got a result against Capel. We got a result against Keller. And so then we played some really good teams, and that belief when they thought that, hey, look, because in the past, Region 3 is we don't have the pedigree that Region 1 does, that Dallas does. And the kids this team saw that they can compete with them. And I feel like they believe. Now, the game can be different, but if we play like we can play and that we have played, they believe that they can beat the Marcus. And so, and that's half the battle. Just, I've coached teams where you knew the game was over before you even stepped out there, because you can look in their eyes and they're not certain what they can do. But this team is different, the experience, and they played so many high level club games, and they know what big games are like. A couple of the girls, they're commit. Allison's going to Auburn and Ryan's going to Samford. And so they've been in big situations. So they're not really afraid to get out there and play with everything they have.
Yeah. I mean, once again, you're not kidding about those Dallas teams. It's got to be great. I think that's got to be such a luxury, I think, as a coach, having these these club girls that are already used to playing year round, and especially if they play with each other, that just means they're weathered for the time that they get back over here into the public school ranks. That game against Marcus, it's going to be a battle. I feel it's 11 a.m. on Saturday. I will be there for that. That's going to be
great.
They last 1-23 against Rich Point. Like you said, they've been there before. It's their 8th time reaching the Final Four. But yeah, it's going to be a battle. So I'm really excited to see what your girls can produce. But anyways, thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
I wish you all the best of luck and a safe trip over to Georgetown and Birkelbach. And who knows? Hopefully we can get some Houston love here. Okay.
Appreciate
Thanks
it
again, Coach. Good luck this year.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt.